today, I'm glad to say. John Wayneman, who writes under name, an assumed name, I think, of Serge Altenes, but he has published with Ronsdale Press recently, and it's now been released in Spanish, a book about his father's photos that his father took during the Spanish Civil War. And he's just come back from Spain, where he visited places that were in the photos and met people who knew people in the photos or were actually in the photos. So he had a terrific time. Anyway, we were in Spain some years ago, so I thought in John or Serge's honour, I would read a poem to a Spanish poet called Rosalía de Castro. We went to Santiago de Compostela, and while we were there, we went on a little trip, and they took us out into the country to the house where Rosalía lived. She started as a servant in that very house, but the mistress of the house realized that this was a talented child and educated her, and she became a poet. And she wrote in the local dialect, and she has a poem which is a kind of farewell to life. She knew she was dying, and it's called Adios Fuentes, Fuente, a little spring or stream in the north of Spain. So I wrote this for Rosalía de Castro because we visited her house, and then I read it at a banquet for us when we were there, and a poet of the region said, we're going to translate that into our dialect. I've never seen the translation, so I don't know whether they did it. Anyway, it's for Rosalía de Castro, and it's about the area and her house. On the mountain, an artist's chiseled granite commemorates writers born on the great peninsula's edge. Mist rolls in veils around the heart's intimate abyss. Wild horses stamp the grass and canter off through clouds swathing a place weighted with myth. Cradle of bones from the unencumbered dead, born down here, where bird-thronged estuaries mix fresh water with salt tides of the sea. Dawn, quiet grove of oaks. You led us to rough-hewn rocks, delicate in equipoise. The dolmen's art endures like crags. Graffito. Through her villa's sun-filtering windows, Rosalía smiles at figs she planted with olive, lemon, grape. Words burst across her tongue, all the juices of life. Emotions leap and cling, surprising as wild flowers pushing intensities of colour between weathered rocks on the wind-dishevelled shore. Rose petals fall one by one from Rosalía's generous lips. In the village bar across the way, flies buzz the hand of one who paints that now familiar face, and her farewell to life, learned by heart in local speech. Poet, your clothes hang empty and cold in your room, but your words are warm and filled with your presence. I take them with me like the gift of a friend. And when we were driving away in our cab, we were going to the airport, and I said to the cab driver, do you know Rosalía de Castro? And so he then said, Adios Fuentes, and recited the entire poem by heart. So that's why it's known in local speech. Anyway,